Hello, inner tubers! A double dose of Murray, Magic Murray. We actually had a little extra time after the shoot, and I've always wanted to just have chat. Every time we are together, there's so many other people around, and I never get a chance to just shoot the shit.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me. First of all, thanks for having me in your home, and I had so much fun chopping vegetables with you.
Yeah, we did some magic there.
Yes,
we
we did. Yeah.
You're from Canada, and
yeah.
I've been to BC only a couple of times, and once over the eastern side and once over the western side. But where in Canada, where in BC are you from?
I'm from Vancouver, so it's the west side, right above Seattle.
I've actually been there
a
couple or three times. All your whole life?
Yeah, that's where I was born and raised. Mom and dad were there. They all worked for the railway, and then I was the black sheep of the family and decided to do magic. Bit of a shocker, huh?
I don't know. I think you're pretty awesome. The Canadian Railway?
CN, Canadian National Railway. The whole family worked for.
You know, one of my bucket list items, if ever I make enough money, is I want to take that entire trip across Canada.
Oh, it's beautiful. Through the Rockies, which is in Alberta,
the whole thing.
And then across the prairies. Yeah.
Such a bad case of wanderlust. Do you have brothers, sisters?
I don't. It's just me. My parents had me late in the game. Mom wanted more kids, and she actually, believe it or not, had 8 miscarriages. And I was the 9th, but I made it. And I had a twin, and the twin didn't make it, so I made it. So at that age, my dad was in early 40s, Mom was in her mid to late 30s, and they were like, you know what? We got a kid with, 2 hands, a head, and possibly a brain. That's it, we're good. So that's kind of how it happened. So they were married 13 years before they had me. So that was it.
Well, they lucked out, dude.
Well, I don't know about that, but they got me. So there it is.
That sort of explains how close you are to your mom and how sweetly you treat her. You know, one of the things that's always impressed me, I stalk you, actually.
Thank you.
Well,
at least somebody does.
We all live each other's lives by being able to be connected on Facebook. We didn't know each other through Facebook until we had met in person.
That's right.
That's really cool. I like that in-person shit first. And then you can stalk someone else's life. But one of the things that just explodes my heart with love, and I try to tell my inner tubers this all the time. I'll tell you why oh, maybe you don't know. But
okay.
Anyway, my inner tubers, I tell them that love is all you need. Love makes the world go round. And you treat your mom, and she clearly treats you with such fun affection.
Yes, I think it's important. She gave birth to me, and she put up with me for a lot of years and got me to where I am, along with my father, and he passed about 3 years ago, but he had a great life, he passed away at 83. And Mom is one of those people that have always, she sewed my costumes as a magician when I was young. My dad would build the tables, and they were really supportive of what I did. My dad still wanted me to have a real job, because he came from a real world. He worked for the railroad for 37 and a half years, got a retirement, like what everyone did in the 70s and the 80s, I had a different plan, and they always supported me, even though they're like, maybe there's a pension plan in the works for you with a real company. I'm like, yeah, but magic's going good. And so now obviously I'm doing what I'm doing, and Mom's a huge supporter.
What was
I love her to
your
death.
first magic thing?
My first magic trick, I started when I was 7, so a couple of years ago. And so my first trick was where I did an elastic band trick. You put it around 2 fingers and it jumps to the other 2 fingers. It's a little simple trick. You can learn on the back of a Cheerios box or a back of a, the kids learn in a Cracker Jack package. And I like
They had Cheerios in Canada.
Yeah, can you believe that? Yeah, and electricity and a lot of stuff like that. And they have clouds and a couple cows. So yeah, and anyway, so Canada's really getting there. And so then after we ended up learning that we had power in other things, we could watch TV and learn to other people. So I actually watched David Copperfield growing up as a magician. So I was like, wow, we have electricity, let's watch a real cool magician, and he inspired me. And after that, I thought, you know what, let's come to the States. I know they have electricity. I'm like, we're coming down here and trying to be famous. And that's kind of how it happened. I came down here years later because I wanted to better my career. Because, I've always taught people, I don't care what you do, whether you're a chef or you're into being a seamstress. My mother was a seamstress. Or you dig oil. If you want to dig for oil, you're going to have to go to where oil is, meaning Texas or wherever. If you want to be an actress or an actor, you have to go to New York or LA or Chicago. If you whatever you want to do, you want to climb mountains, well, don't go to the prairies because there's no mountains, And
this is true.
And in business,
it's flat as fuck.
That's why they call it the prairies. So basically what happens is I realize you should go to the place where, because a lot of people go, well, how do you make it? Or how do, and that's what I asked you, you're 75. How did you go, you know what? let's try something new, innovative, and be on YouTube at 75, because it's a young person's game. I'm even too old for YouTube, you know what I mean? So what encouraged you to go, you know what, I wanna, what was the first meal you cooked, first of all? Whatever age, what age were you when you first cooked your first meal? Were you 10, 15, 5,
You know,
20?
I'm guessing it was 7 or 8 myself. I was the oldest of 3.
Okay.
My mother had 3 kids.
Okay.
And my father had 2 of them.
Okay.
And,
well, that's nice of him to help out.
And my father was a saint, I swear. But I've always been fascinated with putting things together and see what combination you get.
Yeah.
You know, I think probably that was the time I put cut up hot dogs in my macaroni and cheese because I wanted to see what it tasted like.
Something different, just experiment.
Yeah, because my mother always served macaroni and cheese. She made the best homemade macaroni and cheese on the planet. And she about had a stroke when I put hot dogs in it.
Okay, you just went for it.
Yeah, but I've always, you know, and I teach that when I do my videos on my channel. Sometimes it's the combinations of things and the combination of texture and taste and sweet and sour or salty and sweet or crunchy and smooth. You know, probably my biggest surprise was making that parfait.
Yes.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
So, and I made that fresh on camera. I'd never made it before. It was an idea I had when I went to the grocery store. The what do you call it? The fruit was on special.
Sure.
So I thought, well, I've got in the muffin. So I got a muffin that was already cooked. I didn't have to fuss with that, and I had some pudding in the cupboard. Well, I made trifle before, and that's just pudding and cake.
Yeah.
Well, what if I put the fruit in it too?
Yeah.
And when I took the first bite, and those blueberries exploded in my mouth with the kind of grainy of the and the
seeds
smooth,
and
and it was awesome. And so, how did I start? Well, it was on my bucket list. When I moved here to this house, coming on 6 years now, I found my old calendar book. You remember the days of calendar book?
I still use them though. I still have a calendar at home. I don't put stuff in my phone. Yeah.
I had this book, and in the very back page, I had put in some pages where I just wrote down stuff. Okay. And like the Canadian Railway trip, becoming an actress or trying to be a background actress was on my bucket list. And I thought, well, I'm in LA now. I might as well give it a shot.
That's great.
And I did this one gig that inspired me, and then I defended that gig to a friend, and I came up with the name GrannyPottyMouth, and I thought, well, I know how to do shit. I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. Sure. So why not?
That's so great.
And you know what's kind of fun is I get in these crowds, like you said, of all these younger kids. We were just in Vegas when you were leaving to come here last week. And all of a sudden, there's this swoop of young kids who all going to come and talk to me. Yeah. There's a young black man who's a gorgeous dancer and a comedian. There's this beautiful blonde girl who runs claw machines. And then there's this other kid who's been in high school musicals. And they glom onto me and they want to talk to me and they want my advice.
That's great. Isn't that cool?
About life.
Sure, because they watch you and they see you. Like, isn't that cool when you have, because we sit here and we shoot this for all your viewers, and we really don't know how many people we affect. We don't. See, I perform live every day in Vegas, so I see the people, you hear the instant reaction, and then they say hi to you after the show and that's it. But when you do YouTube and Facebook and all this, you don't really understand the effect you have on people until you do go out and walk around and go to events and people share their stories with you, how you've helped them, what you've helped them with, or just the pure enjoyment of them seeing you on a daily basis.
Made me laugh on a really
That's
bad
right.
day. I mean,
exactly.
We get the comments, but it's not the same as this face-to-face.
That's right. Yeah.
It's at the very first time you ever pulled a magic trick on me. We were down in the studio where Seth and you were.
That's right. Yeah, of course.
No name dropping.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, of course.
Where you and Seth work, and you showed me this trick. How do you do that? And something happened in that moment where we had a click, and you know, you've got a billion, kabillion, zillion followers, but you still want to hang with me.
Of course I do, because you're cool, you know? And why you're cool is I always love people that have life experience. I love that. I don't care if they're 15, 105, or 45, you know, because the fact that I'm all about life and the experience.
I just
it's
heard
all
people
about that.
vote.
Yeah, the little bit of Canadian. Yeah, it's my one Canadian word. And sorry. I don't say sorry like the Americans.
Sorry.
And but you know, I'm all about life experiences, and I love somebody that's traveled and that has stories. And what you tell us and share with us, you are probably right. Why? Because you've lived it. You know what I mean? Even though when you're younger, you don't want to believe it because we're young and we want to learn our own ways, which we all have to, right? But when, you know,
how do they think I know any of this shit?
Of course.
I learned the lesson at least once.
That's right.
Sometimes 2 or 3 times.
Of course.
The hard way.
Well, yeah. Well, I think the hard way, you never forget the right way after that, don't you? Isn't that true? That should be a bumper sticker or a hashtag. But you know, it's you know, it's one of those things. I think it's great, right? So, no, I just find that fascinating because I love the fact that you have the mentality to take a risk and go for it, and age is just a number. You know what I mean? And I love that fact because a lot of people are worried that, oh, I'm too old for this, or I'm too young for this, or I'm not experienced enough. It doesn't matter. Go for it. Give it a shot because you'll never know unless you try, correct?
Right.
At least that's my
idea.
You know.
My takeaway from you has always been this: before I ever knew how big and famous you were, I knew that your heart was bigger than your fame.
Well, my parents. That's from my parents. You know, they taught me that. You know.
Clearly,
yeah,
and you know
they taught me that.
I tell my inner tubers that all the time. You have to look for the heart, and if you don't find it in someone that you're hanging with, then find another person to hang with.
Of course, and I believe the environment you circle yourself with, and this goes for everybody, this is my opinion, is the environment you learn from and sometimes become. And if it's not a positive environment or an environment you don't want to be in, then find a new environment or new friends, you know?
If you can.
That's, well, of course, it's not always possible. Yeah.
At least circle your own self with your positive thoughts.
Yes.
Because if you don't give yourself your positive thoughts and you're not going to get them from your circle, then it's just this endless loop of negative nonsense, and who needs that?
No, exactly, and I think it's very important. So
this is the
there
best
we go.
time ever.
See? Well, thank you for having me hang out with you. I love that we're sitting in your kitchen, hanging out here, and I love the fact that we got to cook in your kitchen. This kitchen is very famous. Everyone sees this kitchen. I'm excited to be a part of it. So
you know what? I designed this kitchen myself.
You were telling me this.
Slab up.
That's amazing, and everything's done right.
When I bought this house, it was ugly as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew kind of what I wanted. I wanted I wasn't doing any YouTube.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I just wanted a kitchen where 2 people could at least work comfortably together without, you know.
Yeah, with smacking into each other.
Way, or not having a comfortable workspace. And I wanted a space where I could have conversation with, you know, like a party house.
Of course.
There's a lot of musicians in my circle of friends, and I wanted a place where we could all gather.
Yes.
And if we have to, we just push this table against that wall, and we circle up the chairs, and we have songs.
Of course. Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do, and
I love
happy with. And there's place to put shit. Now, mind you, it doesn't always get put away, but there's place to put shit, so it's not stacked everywhere.
That's right.
It also means I have more shit than I should have, so I need to.
We all do that, don't we? Isn't it? We always hang on to that battery. That maybe if we hang on to the battery long enough, it'll recharge itself. You know, maybe if it didn't work in this, but maybe if I hold on to it and put it in something else, it'll all of a sudden light up. We all have that pen that doesn't write. Like maybe tomorrow I'll put that away. It's a pen, right? But we all have that moment. Well, I'll just see that pen. Maybe next weekend it'll come around.
I have 3 crock pots. You know? Why do I need
Exactly. You never know.
I may have to take some stuff to a potluck or something. And
and 2 might break down. Is that possible?
I call my inner tubers because I fucked up the word one time when I was trying to say, hello, people of the internet YouTubers, and it came out inner tubers. And
I love it. It's funny.
So that's how they are.
I think it's funny. I like inner tubing.
Some people think it's an old joke, but you what?
I like inner tubing.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like it down a snow hill.
Oh, I like it behind a boat. But that's personal.
That's now on my bucket list.
See, you gotta do it.
That's a great way to end, guys.
Exactly. There you go.
Inner tube on your bucket list.
There it is. See.
Mwah! Granny loves you. Tell him.
Yeah, Granny loves you.
No, you tell him you love him.
No, you love him.
No, you tell him you love him.
I love you.
Bye, guys. Blair Davis, my Patreon grandkid, gets a shout out. Social media, Brandon, Hope, Leela, and Myke.